The regular meeting of the Board of the Rhode Island Bridge and Turnpike Authority will now come to order. First item is, what is it? It's the approval of the meeting, minutes of the meeting. Oh no, public comment, actually. Can I speak under that? I'm asking.
What's that?
Can I speak under public comment?
No, but if they call to order, if you have any announcements,
I do.
you're okay to make them.
First of all, I'd like to compliment Lori and Eric and the entire staff, all the men and women of the Rhode Island Bridge and Turnpike Authority for doing a fantastic job regarding the Mount Hope Bridge. Job well done, and it's a great thing, and you should all be complimented. Getting it done a day and a half early, fantastic. So good for you. Congratulations to all of you. The second thing is, I understand there should be accolades for our executive director. If you want to elaborate, Lori.
So I just found out last night that I have been nominated to become the second vice president of the International Bridge, Tunnel, and Turnpike Association. The way that this works now is that I will become the second vice president as of January 1st, 2026, then first vice president as of January 1, 2027, and then president as of January 1, 2028. Now, Rhode Island is punching above its weight because this is the second time this has happened, I think, in 10 years, because Buddy Croft was also the president of the IBTTA and went through the progression of second, first president, and then immediate past president. As you all know, it's a strong organization that represents the interests of bridge operators and tolling operators internationally. So, some of the initiatives, such as an initiative they did in the last year or so, which was they had called it Be Safe Together, which was a safety initiative, had an impact worldwide. So I'll be thinking about what my platform will be for, and in the meantime, I'm prepared to get off and running with a great team of people that currently serves as president and first vice president. So I'll be stepping in as of January 1.
I see a convention coming in Newport.
Yep.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
There you go. Public comment, none. Next, do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting which was held on June the 11th, 2025? Motion by Peter, second by Karen. A discussion, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, the ayes have it. Next is the Newport Pell Bridge routine inspection.
Sure, I'll take that one. Thank you. It's time for the routine 2-year inspection for the Newport Pell Bridge. Again, seems like we're always inspecting it because we split it up half and half and do one half a year. Inspection, we put out cost proposal solicitations from 6 of our pre-qualified on-call infrastructure professional services consultants. 3 of the consultants responded with price quotes ranging from $709,823 to $838,038. 2 consultants declined because of existing workload, and 1 consultant was non-responsive. The costs were benchmarked against previous inspections and determined to be reasonable. We had budgeted $800,000 based on past inspection contracts for this bridge, so we came in well in the budget. We have a new consultant who has not inspected the bridge. It'll be Attain, Attain has done great work on other of our bridges, so we're happy to bring Attain on to get another fresh set of eyes looking at the bridge. So we are recommending approval of the attached proposal by Attain Engineers PC in the total amount not to exceed $709,823.
Thank you, Eric. Do I have a motion? Motion by Karen, second by Peter. Discussion. Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, the ayes have it. Next, the Mount Hope Bridge routine underwater inspection.
Sure, I'll take that one again. So, Federal Highway normally requires underwater bridge inspections every 5 years, but more frequently if conditions warrant. Mount Hope Bridge inspection is due now because in the previous inspection they noted a non-critical scour condition at the North Tower Foundation. So that increased the frequency of the underwater inspection. The inspection will still follow the MBIS standards, and the information that we gather in this new inspection will be used to program a scour remediation project for the North Tower to rectify the existing conditions. So the timeliness of the inspection is actually good. We'll be able to program a project before we get. Well, we solicited cost proposals for this routine underwater inspection from 2 pre-qualified on-call consultants. Both of them are specifically qualified in underwater inspections, and they also happen to be the consultants that many of the larger ones will use as a sub-consultant to perform underwater inspections. So we went directly to these 2 consultants. They're both local. Collins Engineers and Consor North America. Collins submitted a task order proposal for $57,035 and Consor for $38,434. Again, we looked at previous costs and both of these are reasonable. We had actually budgeted $75,000 based on previous inspections. So we recommend awarding the routine underwater inspection of Mount Hope Bridge to Consor in the amount not to exceed $38,434.
Great. Travis?
Question?
Yeah.
So it sounds like this is supposed to be done every 5 years, but we came up earlier. I was just curious when.
We're about the 4-year mark right now.
Okay, just curious.
So, and then once we rectify the scour condition, we should be back to the 5-year, regular inspections. More importantly, the reason we need to program a project to address the scour is the scour condition at the North Tower, and I've explained this to all the people that have inquired about the bridge inspection and condition. The bridge slipped from satisfactory to fair condition. It had nothing to do with anywhere else on the bridge other than the scour condition at the North Tower. And it's noted in the last routine inspection for the whole bridge. It was actually noted in there. That was the only reason that the overall condition of the bridge went from satisfactory to fair. So by rectifying this condition, the expectation is we'll be able to restore the bridge to satisfactory condition by fixing this. And it's a scour protection is generally dumping riprap around the foundation. It's not a complicated project, but it's something that will be necessary to bring the bridge condition back.
When do you foresee that happen?
We'll probably work on the design of that project later this year. Once this inspection gets done, we'll be able to have that information. We can find one of our on-call consultants to start designing that project, and then probably the following year we would go out and build it. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
Do I have a motion to award contract not to exceed $38,434? Motion by Peter, second by Karen. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. Next is the Mount Hope Bridge dehumidification.
Sure, take that one too. This one was a long time coming, and we're happy to bring it forward finally. We advertised an invitation for bid to dehumidify the cables and anchorages of the Mount Hope Bridge, which this work, as you know, is necessary to preserve the life of the cables and anchorages for another 50 to 75 years. 3 companies submitted bids: American Bridge Company, Skanska Coke Incorporated, and Kiewit Infrastructure Company. By the deadline, bids were opened publicly on July 9th of this year. Bids ranged from $48,879,000 to $52,856,600. The current construction cost estimate developed by the design consultant AECOM was $38,199,909, including contingency. The initial construction cost estimate developed at the time that we had applied for federal grant funding, which was back in 2021, was $31,325,728, including contingency. AECOM performed a bid review and analysis and recommends that we execute a construction contract with Kiewit for the work, and award of the contract will not be executed until the obligation of the Protect grant fund is finalized, which we're still working with Federal Highway on getting that obligation completed. So we recommend approval of the construction contract with Kiewit in the amount not to exceed $48,879,000.
Questions?
Yes. Yeah, Eric, could you just tell us, or Jeff, where we stand budgetarily? Because we started out considerably lower than where we're at. I have some comfort in the fact that all 3 of the very qualified bidders came in
Very
close together.
Yeah.
But could you just tell us what the budget impact will be with all this?
Sure. So fortunately or unfortunately, however, whatever side you're on, we were earning about 50 basis points on our investments. Over the last 3 years, we're around 430. So we've been able to put away about $14 million of investment income, so that'll fund the majority of the gap. We also have $17.4 million in a reserve fund that if we needed to draw down on that, we could do that as well. So our cash position is very healthy.
So the elephant in the room is the grant, right? How, what is the status of that? And what word have you been getting from USDOT?
We've been told that the grant will go forward. So now what we've done, so Jeff had been working with them on the grant agreement, and basically it was ready to go, but it had been paused. You know, by the new administration, everything had kind of fallen into a pause. We've been told that it's been greenlit, so now we've picked it back up, and all we're doing now is just finalizing it, and, you know, it's, I think you would have reached out yesterday, right, on the status, and then we'll.
Yep, right now it's with FHWA HQ, so it's moved up the chain.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's paperwork at this point.
Paperwork, that's right.
All right.
Okay.
And has the vendor agreed to hold the price for, until that grant can be executed?
Yeah, I mean, we expect it'll be executed soon anyway, so I don't think we'll run into any time constraints. And, you know, we, in the bid review, it's described what we've done to review it. We know that the bids are high, but again, you know, as Peter mentioned, they're all close. So we know the bids are good. We've had several meetings with Kiewit because we wanted to get a general understanding, why are all the bids so high and why is their number so high? We're comfortable that the numbers are good. A lot of it is uncertainty in the construction with tariffs coming up. I mean, we've got a lot of controls equipment. There's a lot of mechanical equipment that's part of this contract. There's a lot of materials that go into this contract. And they're seeing, you know, increases of 25% in a lot of areas. So we think a lot of it has to do with that because the people don't know. This is a 2-year approximately construction contract, so they're not going to lose money. So they have to build money into their bids to make sure that they don't lose their shirt, you know. So we are comfortable. It's more than what we anticipated, but still worth every penny in order to preserve the bridge. So
I have a question. Just out of curiosity, when was the original estimate done?
the original estimate was done, I think it was 2021,
Late
right? Isn't that when we started applying for federal money?
So between 21 and now, the inflation rate for construction of bridges has been incredible.
Yes, that's right.
I mean, it's like almost double.
It is.
Right. Even the project Fishing Pier Access Road Bridge and the Jamestown Bridge joints that we're replacing, you know, that came in much higher than estimated as well. And, you know, we hadn't really bid any big projects in a while until that one. Now this one, of course, is much larger. So we're seeing the real results. You know, I think everybody was holding their breath during the bidding process to find out how it was going to come in.
And I just want to add that we are taking note of the fact that these came in so high, because we're going to be, we're wondering what impact this will have on the bids for the $82.5 million infra grant for work on the paddle. So we're noting how high they came in and beginning to prepare for that.
Was that, was the one for the estimate for the Pell done around the same time frame?
A year later.
Late 22.
That's still,
Yeah.
22 to now is
Yeah.
still
Yeah, so we have
considerable.
concerns on that one, you know.
Yeah,
So we're gonna have to take a hard look at that one because, you know, we don't want it to come in double because that would be unfundable, so.
yeah. Okay.
We'll work with Federal Highway on.
What's the
what our
word on the
options
infra, do you know?
We signed an amendment last week to the
Right.
agreements and we're all set.
are. Yeah,
Right.
and we've been drawing down on that one already, so he's been able to submit.
So it's obligated.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Further questions?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion, do I have a second? Seconded by Karen and Peter. Discussion, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, the ayes have it. Nice job, thank you.
Thank you.
Next is the Mount Hope Bridge deck replacement.
Sure, take this one. This is just a discussion item that I wanted to bring to the board. Back in March, we solicited proposals from qualified engineering consulting firms to assist us in the planning and potentially, eventually, the engineering, investigation, design, and construction support services for Mount Hope Bridge deck replacement, which, you know, we're also going to look at any possible rehabilitation alternatives, but we're pretty confident it would end up being a replacement by the time we get to do this project. On April 29th, we received proposals from 6 engineering firms, all qualified, and we've started to review these proposals. We intend to interview each consultant, all 6 of them. So we talked about in-house the possibility of bringing on one of our other on-call professional services consultants to participate in the selection process with us.
Good.
And it would be one that obviously did not submit. So there's only 6 submitted, and we've got a list of probably just over 20 consultants that we have, that we can draw from. The selected participant would be obviously from a firm that didn't propose, but we would have them, we could either have them as a voting member, or we could have them just as an advisor, and this is why, I'd like to bring this to discussion and see what the board thinks about it. The other concept that we could look at in addition to that is selecting the top 2 or 3 proposals, so basically shortlisting out of the 6, and then offering each of the consulting firms a stipend to further develop their initial proposals to include enhanced details regarding potential deck types, constructability options, and updated cost estimates. And they've touched on some of this stuff in their proposals, but they haven't spent a ton of time on it because we understand this takes a lot of time and effort for a consulting firm to develop. So the thought process is we could spend a little money, give it to each of them and say, tell us more, so that then we can refine it and then select the best that we feel is stands out from those 2 or 3 proposals. So just looking for thoughts and.
I think you're essentially saying that there could be a lot of creativity in terms of how this is dealt with, that there's
Right.
a
That's
lot of
right.
variables, and we want to take full advantage of creativity,
Sure.
give people the full run and chance to really develop their thinking.
Yeah, I mean, this project is liable to cost anywhere between 50 and 100 million, depending on what way we go. So it's a big ticket project, and I think it deserves extra attention, other than just our normal process for a smaller project where we would select qualified consultants.
I would be in favor of both of those approaches, both bringing on a project representative
Yeah.
to help you in your assessment. I don't know about the voting. Whether or not the representative should be a voting member, I think usually that's probably more proper to handle, my opinion, as part of the staff.
And that's kind of where we were leaning, was bringing them on more as an advisor.
Absolutely.
And then we would all do our voting.
I would fully support you bringing on, as an advisor,
Yeah,
but keep the voting to the
internal,
to the staff,
yeah.
to the administration, and the competition that you create by providing a stipend, I think, would be well worth it. You'll probably get some great alternative technical concepts coming from that, and I would support you in that too.
When would you like to see this move forward?
I want to start the planning now because I think it's going to take a while. This will definitely. I mean, this is why Lori and I have both been communicating that we're looking at deck replacement 5+ years out, right? So, but the planning needs to start now. It's going to take a while to get somebody on board. It'll take a while to deal with the planning, and then because of the cost of it, of course, we would love to be able to look for federal funding opportunities. So we want to have time to be able to plan that as well. But we need some good numbers also. So the thought process is bring somebody on now in the planning project to plan. The RFP was written to allow for the planning, the investigation, and eventually, if we're happy with the consultant, we can proceed to design and even construction support services. We always have the option to cut that off and change to another consultant if we ever wanted to. So we're not tied into all of this scope that's in the RFP. It was written to allow us to continue on though, if we choose, to proceed. So the planning process will be a while. It'll take some time. And then, like I said, with better numbers, we'll be able to go look for federal funding opportunities and have good numbers.
So you'll be coming back, you want to come back to us in the near future then?
Sure. I mean, if we all agree, first of all, to bring on a consultant to help us, that'd be the next task order I'd bring to you is something for another consultant to come in, review these proposals with us and start participating in the selection process. And then moving on, once we select somebody to start planning, I'd come forward again with a planning task force.
So you're asking You're asking for that now, or you just informational purposes?
No, it's just information, I just, you
So
know.
you're gonna come back to us with a request?
That's right, that's right.
The last time the deck was replaced on the Mount Hope Bridge was around 1985, 1986. The bridge was closed for the better part of a year. Eric's been looking at some cutting edge technology that just it's pretty amazing, that would allow the bridge to be redecked with minimal downtime.
Well, you said that, right?
in terms
It
of
would be in
service.
pieces, right?
That's part of what we want to look at, is what are our options to replace the deck? The biggest elephant in the room is how do you do it? How do you build it? Once you select that type, so there's a lot of pieces that have to come together. The deck type we select could partly be because of how you can build it, it might not, there's so many different options out there, that's gonna be one of the big
It's
decisions.
probably changing all the time.
They're doing it differently all over the place, because I shouldn't say nobody, there are bridges where they close them to do the work, but we don't want that to be the case for Mount Hope Bridge. That would be untenable these days.
Yeah. Okay,
So,
thank you.
sure.
So we'll be waiting for you to come back.
Yeah.
Okay, terrific, thank you. Next, capital project status report.
Sure. So, again, I talked about the dehumidification of Mount Hope Bridge. We're just waiting for the protect obligation now. With your approval on the construction contract, we're basically shovel ready at this point. We'll just keep working with Colorado Highway to get that protection grant wrapped up. The Mount Hope Bridge deck overlay construction is completed. We put up this slideshow. Is that playing already? We put up a slideshow. I took a bunch of photos. We were out there when we closed the bridge. I stayed out there till almost, I think it was about 11 o'clock that night to make sure that I wanted to watch the micro grinding machine make a pass all the way across the bridge. It took 4 passes to complete the grinding on the bridge. It's only 7.5 feet wide. But I wanted to get an eye on what did the deck look like all the way across, and were there any major issues. And then they continued on all night into the next morning. It took about 12.5 hours to grind the entire bridge. We planned on taking 5/8 of an inch off, but right here where they started, they weren't getting down to basically a sound surface, so they kept setting the depth deeper, and we ended up at an inch. So we took an entire inch off that bridge deck surface, and we ground down to the original 1986 concrete deck. We basically took off an inch of chip seal buildup that had been there from many years of chip seal applications, and that's what we got off. There was a couple of places where it wasn't completely down, but they had a skid steer with a bucket on it with a very sharp attachment, and he was able to peel off the rest of it. Then there was some thin layers, and he was able to peel off the rest of it. We had some minor areas where there was some concrete, small holes where the concrete had deteriorated against the curb. But the deck surprisingly was not as bad a shape, and this is only a wearing surface, so when I say the deck isn't in as bad a shape as we thought, it's a wearing surface. I thought it was going to be worse than what was there. So we had patching quantities in the contract, and then we had an allowance above that in case we ran into problems. They used very little patching out there, and then they were able to move right on to apply the
Good.
bonded overlay. I mean, a lot of the time was spent doing the cleanup on the bridge, where they swept it, scraped it. They used a small micro grinder, a little guy driving this little mini grinder that went along the joints and around the scuppers with a big machine had to pick its grinding wheels up. And we just had great weather. I mean, this team, I couldn't have asked for a better A-team out there working on this. It was phenomenal. And what I think we ended up with was a great result. We do have gaps at the joints, of course. We couldn't pave over the strip seal joints or the finger joints, so we did have gaps there. But what we put back was 5/8 cement. So when we've heard some complaints that, well, there's still some bumps in the bridge. Well, there's gonna be, because you can't pave over a strip seal, because the minute the thing starts to move, the pavement will break up. You're better off leaving a controlled gap there where it's rolled and compacted down to a taper, and now it won't move anywhere. If we had paved over the joints, which was an option, we could have. I got a phone call on that. They said, we could just pave over the joints and see what happens. And I said, no, we're not going to do that, because I know what's going to happen. And so we're gonna plan for it. You pave over the joints and pull the asphalt up and then roll it. So that's what they did. This was the exposed deck, basically. That's 1986 right there that you're looking at, largely. That was what we saw Friday morning when when we went out. And there was some areas where the concrete looked like it was busted up, and it was very isolated, but the concrete was not even loose. It was sitting there in place. We made the decision, don't disturb it, leave it in place. The ultimate bonded overlay will lock everything together and should hold everything in place when I got done. So, I think the project went off pretty much without a hitch, and I've driven the bridge, and the bridge joints are not bad if you do 30 miles an hour over the bridge. Jeff's driven over, he said the same thing. I think it's a bridge, we haven't seen this bridge like this ever in a long time, so they get keeping on well.
Thank you.
It's smooth like
I have a
butter.
question.
Smooth
Were
like
the,
butter.
were the joints paved over in previous pavement?
No, they had.
So
they
the
had-
joints existed?
The joints were always there, and it's Lori and I went on Matt Allen, and because he had a question about the joints. He wasn't really super critical, he had driven over it because he was
Yeah.
curious and he had posted something, so he had reached out to us. The joints were there.
They're
but
more
so- but
noticeable
so was
because
all the
everything
other
is smoother.
deterioration.
Exactly.
So people didn't know that they were driving over a bump on whether it was a
Yep.
joint or something else, and
What
that's what I
happens.
explained. And not only that, there was a 1-inch lip at each joint, and now there's a 5/8, so it's actually less of a lip
Yeah.
than what was there. And in the end result, we have 3/8 less deck material out there, so we have some less dead weight on the deck as well right now.
Good.
So. The PM contract for infra and HDR has been a great help on this. They've been coordinating all the meetings. They've been recently working on the environmental coordination for all 3 projects as one basic environmental effort for Federal Highway. The Federal Highway had agreed that it could be done that way. The deck and joint rehab design is at 30% right now. We just received that submission last week. Tower painting and steel repairs, we received assessment reports and they're proceeding towards the 30% design. And then dehumidification is a bit behind that, so we trickled these projects out kind of month by month, and dehumidification was the last one to start. But they've done their first site visits, and they have more detailed visits scheduled where they're gonna be getting up, looking close at the cable with the UV equipment. That's gonna be coming in the next couple of weeks. The Fishing Pier Access Bridge and Jamestown Verrazano Bridge joint replacement started construction last week. They're working on Fishing Pier Access Road Bridge right now. If you come down towards the Jamestown Bridge, you'll see vehicles at either side of the bridge before you get on the bridge, and those are all going down underneath the bridge and working on the approach bridge that is part of the project. We're still waiting on the rooftop units for the HVAC construction. The vessel strike vulnerability assessment, we've asked the consultant for a status report on that. We expect a draft report in September, and we should be able to finalize that in October or November of this year. And load ratings and inspection contracts that are listed are ongoing, so that's about it.
Thank you, Eric.
Before we move off, can we play, there's 2 videos on here. I want to show you the video from the milling of Mount Hope Bridge real quick. It's just about 45 seconds. And Lori had seen a video that was posted on social media that we thought was a great testament to the project. This one I think is the micro milling, right? Yep, so this just shows you the milling machine and how fast it's moving along on the bridge. It was, this guy worked all night, the same operator on this machine, 12 and a half hours straight.
So four passes, Eric?
4 passes back and forth, yeah.
This is one of the first vehicles to go over the bridge when it reopened at 7:35.
It's muted. There you go.
This video is great.
Who posted this?
I was just gonna say.
Oh, I know.
He's a great guy, very supportive of us.
Yeah.
And he was one of the first to slap a camera on the top of his car and head over.
Looks great.
A little different than it looked a week ago.
Contractor has to come back and do one more application of striking. He's gonna put the final epoxy down, and they'll do that at night without a closure. They'll be able to do a rolling application, and then that's it. Lynch has already invoiced us. And one thing to note is, we have a $400,000 allowance in there for extra repairs that will not be used, so it really only costs us $700,000 and change, not 1.1 million. So, I think it was money well spent.
On time and under budget. Great job. Ahead of time and under budget. All right,
Okay. Right.
you're up, Lori.
I am. So, on the executive director's report, Eric has hit on a few things, so I may condense a few of these. The first one is the Southern Mass and Rhode Island Harbor Safety Committee. And if you notice, further down in my list, I have a mention of the IBTTA Maintenance Conference where there was discussion. I was on a panel regarding the NTSB recommended vulnerability assessment of the Newport Pell Bridge. So now we have this Southern Mass and Rhode Island Harbor Safety Committee, which is, we have this up and very active. They've already scheduled their next meeting. They've asked for items for their agenda. That committee is spearheaded primarily by the Coast Guard and the Marine Pilots Association. But they ask for input from us. We attend the meetings. One of the things that I have asked that be put on the agenda for the next meeting is the fact that we now have these offshore wind vessels close to the bridge. I just want a discussion.
There's one out there now.
There's one out there now. It's large.
I think it's both of those two, yes.
Every time I see one, I'm in contact with the Pilots Association. I just want a discussion about any differences between those vessels and the cruise ships and the other vessels that we normally see near the Pell Bridge. Given what happened with the Francis Scott Key Bridge, given the fact that the NTSB has asked us to do a vulnerability assessment of the Pell. So we just keep those things in mind. And while I'm on that topic of NTSB, Eric mentioned that Mojeski and Masters will have a report for us in draft form in September, in final form in October. The NTSB has recently followed up on their letter to us that said, in light of what happened in Maryland, we would like you to do a vulnerability assessment. They've asked us for a status report, and we have reported to them the timetable. They asked if we were still on track, and our answer was yes, we are. So all of that is good. I've already said before that we do believe that there are a number of distinctions between the Pell Bridge and the shipping corridor and the situation in Maryland. Still, they've asked us to do this, we're doing it. We expect that we will continue to work with them to make certain that we absolutely minimize vulnerability. Transition to the new Easy Pass back office, is a standing item on this agenda. Things are going much, much better. We're down to isolated issues, some more critical than others. The new system is working well now. We are also, we've had the perfect storm, quite frankly, as we have tried to transition out this new back office system. We've been hit with so much of this smishing, short message, texting, combined with scam, phishing, asking for payment of tolls, payment of traffic tickets. It has taxed our customer service system, unfortunately, at absolute the worst possible time as we were rolling out our new improvements to our back office system. But we have taken, we took steps to improve our customer service, and it literally gets better every day. We've seen huge improvements we are handling significantly more calls and more customers in the walk-in center, and feel that we're on the right path. One other factor that did affect that, all of our customer service, is that the perfect storm included many of the 2008, 2009 transponders deciding that they had had enough of serving our Easy Pass system, and the lithium batteries have been dying, and so you will see us undertaking a campaign to swap out those old transponders so that everyone has a working transponder. And we will not be talking to you much longer about lithium batteries and transponders, because the future of transponders will, in all likelihood, will be a sticker in your car. So no more batteries, all good. The customer service study that we undertook several months ago, RK&K, we couldn't have picked a better time to do it, quite frankly. They came in when we were grappling with all of the issues in our improved back office system. They did pivot and do the most comprehensive study possible to get the best, most comprehensive assessment of our customer service department. We're expecting the full report from them by the end of September, and I do think that date will be met. In the meantime, even while they have not rendered the final report, they have been tremendously helpful in helping us through some of the issues that I've just identified. Yes.
So that report will be available to it for review then?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
yes.
then how's the company with the extra workers that were hired? How's that
Yes,
worked out?
that's working out very, very well. We have supplemented our customer service staff here with some off-site personnel. The beauty of that is that we are always looking for bilingual customer service reps. Here in Rhode Island, we have a really hard time finding bilingual reps. The company that we hired, virtually all of the customer service reps that they've put online for us are bilingual. So that's been also a double blessing. They've been fast learners. We have the whole tolling department has spent a lot of time, training those people, and it's all working out very, very well. And we continue to hire here on site here, and everything is going well. The Mount Hope Bridge resurfacing, Eric and I have covered that. You can't please everyone, but I think we've come darn close, even on social media, believe it or not. So, I see nothing but positive responses. I can't thank the host communities enough. They really did step up. The police and the police in both Portsmouth and Bristol, all the different factors that came together for us, and groups. We stayed. I call them stakeholder memos. We had a campaign during this whole thing where we were sending stakeholder memos. It came down to sending them several times a day as leading up to it, then during it, then as soon as we knew we were going to reopen. And I include everyone. I include the Navy. I include the defense industry. I include schools. I include, we were asked, why on earth would you do this during the summer? This is the beautiful time. It's the height of the tourist season. Why would you do this? The answer was, we had met with the towns. They had asked us, don't do this before July 4th. Please don't do this after Labor Day, when you'll be inconveniencing thousands of students, bus systems, faculty. Roger Williams has their move-in day, and we certainly can't clog that corridor at that time. So there's no perfect time, but we chose the best time we could, and then we're able to open it early. So I can't thank Eric and the whole team, Eric, Jeff, Frank, everybody, as well as our vendors. I'm a very lucky executive director. So we're very, very fortunate to have the team that I have. So
and Lynch is a great contractor. They're very,
Yeah.
very professional.
Well,
Very good work.
and we had other contractors involved as well, and one of the people I have to mention is Dave DeVoe from Kevel,
Yes.
who is as familiar with these bridges as anyone. He's a Massachusetts guy and
He basically
hails
camped
from,
out as the resident engineer for the whole project.
yeah, he's just, you know,
Yeah.
it's comforting to have someone that you know knows these bridges, cares about these bridges, will come here from Weymouth or wherever he's located in Mass. You know, you know, if we say come here now, he's here. It's nice to, you know, it's nice to see people that you know have our best interests.
He's been doing that for more than 20 years.
Yeah.
Dave is one of those resident engineers that has our back all the time. He sees something, even if it's not related to the project, that we need to know about. He'll call Frank, he'll call me. Hey, just FYI, you know, it's just top notch. He's got a lot of history here, and he's just got our back. He's a great inspector.
We've already mentioned that the infra and protect grants are protected. There's a bittersweet footnote to that, which is that we've been working with Derek Torrey, but we've also been working with a team from FHWA, that is headed up by John Nicholson, and John passed away over the weekend. So we were heartbroken. He's been very good to us. We've already seen someone else step up and communicate with us, so I expect that there will be a seamless transition to a new FHWA representative. But John Nicholson has been very, very good to us. He manages to talk me off the ledge when I was concerned that perhaps these grants were slipping away. If you read his obituary in the Journal over the last couple of days, he was quite a person, and he will be missed. But and we're grateful for all the help, and we expect that Derek Torrey who's the head of Region 1 for FHWA, and all of his staff will make certain that we have a seamless transition
John's
to a
had
new
some great history.
representative.
Peter knows, but he used to be the chief of maintenance for the DOT years before he made the switch over to Federal Highway.
Yep.
Right. And was the director of public works for Providence for a time too.
Yes, he was.
I knew him going back to '93. He was a great guy.
And our next meeting is September 24th.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved?
Motion, seconded, all in favor, signify by saying aye. All opposed, great. Thank you.